Okay, if I could have your guys' attention, guys and gals. I mean guys is being to everyone, but maybe I'll work on that. Welcome to the hackathon. It's great to be here. So I guess I should say, yeah, welcome back to the hackathon. As you know, we've been having the hackathon, for a number of years, and then we did it online. And I think it actually worked, better than I thought it would work out with us being totally online. Certainly better than nothing, but I'm really excited that we have the opportunity to be back here. For so many of us, we're in person. Some people still remote, but hopefully this is a sign of good things to come. I'm just curious. I have a few questions. For how many people this is actually your first in-person event since COVID started? Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good number. I thought that might be the case. And then the questions I usually ask, how many is this your first hackathon? First IETF hackathon? That's a pretty good number too. And then the one I always find interesting as well, how many of this is your first time doing anything with the IETF? Okay, so okay, some of you for that too. Well, welcome to the IETF. I'm a bit biased, but I think this is a great way to get started with the IETF, and hopefully you'll find that too. And if you're not sticking around for the meeting this time around, that's obviously fine, but hopefully this kind of inspires you to get more involved in other things too. So just a quick reminder why we're here. So whether we're online or in person, still the goal of the hackathons, we want to be able to advance all the work we do with IETF standards, to work to make our specs better by writing some code that implements what we're standardizing, then feeding that back into the specs, and just making more code available. I think if you saw the email from Stuart too, having open source implementations is a great way to not only improve a standard, but to make it more deployable. I think most of us who are here probably believe that already. If you have good examples of it, of course, share those with Stuart. And then, to attract developers and new people into the IETF, which obviously we're doing. So that's another one of the big reasons why we have these. So I also need to remind everyone, especially first-time people, the IETF, everything we do in the IETF is under the note well. The IETF hackathon is no exception. Hopefully you've already familiarized yourself with the note well. If not, take a look at it. These slides are in the data tracker. You can pull them down from there. They're also on GitHub. And if you have any questions about any of these, we can chat about that more. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that we're of course working on code, and all that code should have some license associated with it. And so although we're operating under the note well, the code that you're working on probably has a license too, and make sure you're familiar with that. And so you'll be following the rules of it and the rules of how IPR works related to that license. So it's good to have a look at the code you're working on as well. Now, discussions and the presentations that we're doing here, those all are IETF contributions and fall under the note well. And inclusive language, just something I struggle with at times too. I'm sure a lot of us do. Think about the words you choose, but in general, just be nice to each other, be welcoming to each other. I see that already here with what's gone on. Everyone seems very welcoming, and so I think we have a great culture. But just try to keep it in mind and make it easier for us all to work together with each other. All right, projects. So last I checked, we had about over 20 projects. They're all on the wiki. If you haven't had a chance to look through them, I suggest you do that. Most of you seem to have already found a table. You probably know which project you're working on, and that's great. But feel free to, and I think it's great if you do, talk with the people working on the other projects, especially ones that are kind of related, because oftentimes you'll find that you have expertise or interest across multiple projects. And the fact that we're here in person makes it a little bit easier to go and switch off between groups too. So take advantage of the fact that you're here. If you're not sure which project to join, you can also go to the Lost and Found. And this is both for people who need people on their projects, can say, hey, these are the skill sets we're lacking right now that we could really use. And it's for people who are like, hey, these are things that I'm interested in. I'm happy to help any project for which that they need those skills. Then you can put those there as well. And of course, you can just walk around to the tables too. Okay, so the agenda. We're already at the kickoff. As I mentioned, there was some snacks, and they'll be back there. We'll have lunch brought in, so hopefully you can, of course, take off whenever you want to, manage your own time. But if you want to stay here and keep working, we'll have lunch brought in, and it'll be out there. You'll be able to bring it into the room. There'll also be some snacks in the afternoon, and then we will have dinner provided. And so you're welcome to stay here and work here all day if that works for you. We will close the room at 9 o'clock. And please just be mindful of that. We want to be able to clear the room so the hotel staff can shut it down and everyone can get to doing other things at a reasonable time. And then again, tomorrow, the doors will open at 9:30 like they did today. Lunch will be provided. Now, the main thing I want to point out is that we will be doing the project presentations starting at 2 o'clock. And I encourage you to share your results of what you were able to accomplish and that type of thing. So think about that as you're working along here and plan your time accordingly. That these are very short, simple presentations for those of you who have been here before, but it still takes a little bit of time to get them together. And we'll start it at 2 o'clock. So you'll want to be able to make sure that you have your presentation ready to go at that time. And then the hackathon will, regardless of how many presentations we have, we'll make sure that we're done by within 2 hours so that we can stop at 4 o'clock. And that's when the hackathon will end. And then we have an hour to kind of clear the room and tear everything down. Any questions about the agenda? Okay. So we still have a number of people who are remote and teams where we have people who are here in person and remote. We want to be able to facilitate that. Gather is a great tool that we've been using for a couple of years now to help us when we did meet online. And so encourage you to use it now and to work with people who may not be here in the room. And so I have a picture here of the Gather space, and you can see to get into the hackathon room, there's a little arrow here. If you follow that, it'll take you to the Hackathon Space. And then if you go to that space, you'll find tables that look a lot like the ones here, only they didn't get the nice white tablecloths that we got. But you're welcome to take one of the tables there and use that for your team. And then you can meet around that table. You can then invite others who may be remote to come join you at that table. And you'll be able to have audio, video conferences within that, share notes, that type of thing. So hopefully this helps you with that interaction with remote and in-person teams. And one of the things we'd like to know is get some feedback from you as to how well that works. So please do give that a try and let us know if you find that useful. The other thing, I don't know if anyone's taking advantage of this time around, access remotely to the IETF network, or just for some advanced functionality. If you need anything kind of more layer 2-ish for your project, did anyone make any networking requests of the NOC this time around? Okay, well, I won't spend time on that one then. Maybe some of the remote teams will be using that. Okay, I mentioned the presentations. So, and I think hopefully I said, these are pretty short, pretty simple presentations, just quick hitters of what it was you were trying to solve with your project, what you achieved, what you learned, sharing that. So the idea with these is they should be 5 minutes at the very most, and if they're only 2 or 3 minutes, that's actually great. They're just to give people a general idea, and people who aren't necessarily familiar in depth with what you were doing, just give them an idea of what it was that you did. And then if they have some interest, they can always come and talk with you more about it. So this is just a very short, kind of high-level presentation. And we'll give, everyone's invited to do those, and I encourage you, if you're here at the hackathon, that you do put together one of these so that you can share your results with everyone. Now, when you put together your presentation, what we'll want to be able to do is to share them on GitHub. So what I have here is a link to the IETF GitHub org. And within that, we have a repo just for this IETF, for IETF 113. So within that repo, if you go to it, you'll find a few things. You'll find, first of all, there are these templates. And so you're welcome to download and use these templates to help you put your presentation together. You don't have to use them, but many people find it useful just because it kind of gives you a format and helps remind you the questions that we want you to answer. So those are there to help you out. Now, once you have your presentation, you'll need to upload it into this repo. And in order to do that, you need to be a member of the IETF GitHub org. If you aren't already a member from previous hackathons, you can become a member, and there's some instructions in the README here that show you exactly how to do that. And so you can follow those. The main things are you need to make sure that you associate your name with your GitHub account. Hopefully that's already been done, but it's very handy if you just have a username that's a little cryptic. Please put your real name or the name that you're known by, and make sure that you have two-factor authentication enabled, just so that we don't end up getting hacked, because that wouldn't be good. And then so you send a request to Barry and myself, the hackathon chairs, and we will get you added. Okay, this is one thing that's new that I wanted to highlight. So the data tracker, hopefully you've been seeing, we're getting all kinds of new great functionality implemented in the data tracker. And one of the cool things is being able to correlate a little bit better between a draft or an RFC that you're working on and some running code, some implementation related to it. So there's a new tag that you can associate within the data tracker. And you can use that. It's called related implementations. And so when you see the additional information here in the data tracker, if it's a personal draft of yours, an individual draft, you'll be able to edit. You'll get a little edit thing like that. And so you can put the link to where you're running code, where your implementation is. Or if it's a working group draft, you can ask your working group chair to add that for you. Or if it's an RFC, again, the working group chair can add that for you. And so it's a really cool way that with a given draft, you can point to one or more implementations that you actually have of it. So I really encourage you to do this for the projects you're working on. I think it'd be a great way to help people who aren't here, who aren't familiar with the code you're working on, to realize that there is code related to the draft. So please give that a try. And if you have any problems with it, you can come see me. We can chat about it. Okay, so then when the hackathon ends, well, it's not really over. We still have an opportunity to share what we've done a bit more. And so Hackdemo Happy Hour, this is something we haven't been able to do when we've been remote. Now it's back. So on Monday, this is a chance for you to really discuss your project in more details. I mentioned how the presentations are pretty short, just kind of give people an idea of if they want to talk with you more. Hackdemo Happy Hour, that's a great time. You can present, you can be there, you can be sharing what you did with your project, and people from the IETF community, even people who aren't here in the room right now, can come by and have a more in-depth conversation with you. We'll have some snacks and a cash bar there just to make it a little bit easier for you to hang out and enjoy it. But the idea is that you can really have those more in-depth conversations around your project. And so that's from 5 to 6:30 on Monday. And if you're interested in doing that, please make sure that you let us know so we have enough space reserved. Register before noon on Monday. And if you already know you want to do it, register now. You can register anytime up until noon on Monday. And if you go to the wiki, you'll see the links to get to the registration page. Then the Code Lounge, that'll be actually here in this space. I forgot to mention for the Hackdemo Happy Hour, you'll see it's in this same space. We're in room 1 and 2 right now. The Grand Klimt Hall 1 and 2 is where we are now. So part of this will be dedicated to the Code Lounge. And the other part will be also used for Hackdemo Happy Hour. So the Code Lounge, the idea is that all throughout the week, you'll be able to come here and just sit down at a table. You'll have access to power, and you can work on code. So it's not just limited to the hackathon. It's not like you get everything done just over the course of the weekend. So you're welcome to come here anytime. You'll be able to use the IETF Lounge, but then there'll be space and power for you to work on code. And it's just an easy way to have space to come together and meet with the people on your team. If you find it useful, you can actually schedule time to help coordinate too. And so there's a link there where you can do that. And then I also want to thank Sia and Nick. They are our running code sponsor. And again this year, again for this IETF hackathon. So that really helps fund our efforts here so that we do have food and coffee and space and all those good things. And I'm a little out of practice with running this, and I actually forgot, and I just realized that I wanted to invite Lars, our IETF chair, to come and say a few words. I'm sorry, Lars, for making you sit there through all this. But please come. And I think this is the first hackathon since you became chair, is that right? Where we've been in person?
The first in-person one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Thanks, Charles. Right. So yeah, I don't have much to say. I'm Lars Eckert. I chair the IETF. I took over from Melissa Cooper a year ago. So this is the first time I'm in person, like we all are. Very glad to see so many people participating in the hackathons again. And I think it's going to keep going up until we're back at the regular strength. But this is already much more people than I thought we were going to have. So this is great. Want to also thank the running code sponsors, specifically Sia and Nick, and I think Cisco's also pitching in some money, and also the chairs of the hackathon events, which is Charles, and I think Barry is your co-chair, right, who's in the back there, because they do actually all the heavy lifting of organizing this. And without them and also the sponsors, right, we couldn't like trick you to staying here as long as possible by bringing in food and drinks and that sort of stuff. So this is actually well appreciated by everybody. So have fun, enjoy, write some code. It's really nice that the IETF has open standards that everybody can read and implement, and there's a sort of synergy between open source and open standards that I think the hackathon has been really good at sort of teasing out and strengthening. So I'm very glad to see this growing over time. So thanks, guys. If you want to talk to me anything IETF related, find me. I'm in the back there at the quick table. I'll be in and out all day or all week. Just stop me at all. Enjoy.
Okay, thank you, Lars. And so that's it for the things I wanted to present. Any questions? You can, of course, come and see me. I'll be roaming around the whole time, but anything top of mind that you just wanted to get answered now? Okay, well, great, Wei. Thanks a lot for taking the time out and listening. Hopefully this didn't take up too much of your valuable time. And I'll let you get to it. Hopefully this is a great hackathon for all of you. Thanks again. Oh. Actually, there's one thing I forgot to say, and I'm actually presenting by being in Meetecho right now. This is the first time we've kind of done it this way. But for those of you who, whether you're new or you've been in the remote hackathons, we're going to try to do all the presentations through Meetecho. So you might want to just make sure if you plan on presenting for your project, just give you a heads up now that that's where we're going to be doing it. So basically the idea is you get your presentation ready, you upload it to the GitHub account that I mentioned, and then before the session starts for the presentation, Sunday at 2 p.m., we will pull everything that's in the GitHub org that I showed to you before, will get pulled into Meetecho, and then you'll be able to just, from Meetecho, you'll be able to drive your presentation. So you'll bring your laptop, whoever's presenting, you'll bring your laptop up here like I am now. You'll be joined in Meetecho, you'll be able to share your slides through Meetecho. So that's the way we're going to do the presentations. So sorry for forgetting to mention that before, but I'll just give you the heads up. I'll give you a reminder on Sunday. So make sure you have your Meetecho skills up and so that you're ready to do that on Sunday if you are the one presenting for your team. Okay, thanks again.